Tough bastard, he hasn't made a single sound.
This is getting dull. Let's just go play cards.
But this wretch, he doesn't look half bad, does he? He even seems to have golden hair. Oh, leave off. He's just a filthy beggar.
Yes, I suppose so.
They wouldn't even have been able to look my old self in the face. Ha, they were certainly thorough. Still, I've lived a life. Thank goodness this week's supply of food is safe. Free of hunger and pain. But that was a given. Because I was the only son of Duke Ines, Lord Paramount of the South, and my mother, a princess. Ever since I inherited the Duchy of Ines, all the lands of the vast, fertile southern region have belonged to me. I had only the best, most exquisite things in this world. There was nothing I couldn't have.
Your Grace, you must maintain a sense of responsibility as Duke. There is still work left to be done.
Oh, come now. I'll leave all of that to you lot. You've all been such loyal staff, after all. And you'd do a better job anyway. Back then, I never realized how precious people are. Nor how much work went into preparing all the decadent foods I'd end up taking only a bite of. That's how I used to be. Ugh, what a measly scrap of bread. But now, I'd lick the whole plate clean without complaint. How did it all come to this? 3 years ago, when the king fell ill, he left 2 sons to vie for the throne. The first prince, Elian, was the son of a mistress, but his knowledge and character were impeccable. The second prince, Ferris, had both the legitimacy of being the queen's son and the support of influential nobles. Unfortunately, a war broke out as the two fought over the succession, and soon, the entire kingdom joined in, splitting into 2 factions. I threw in my lot with the second prince. Ferris is of the same blood and my only friend. I ought to be safe on his side. However, he eventually died in battle, and the first prince took control of the kingdom. So I fled, abandoning the people and territory I was duty-bound to protect. Once I'd lost my status as the Duke of Ines, the world became a cold, forbidding place. If I'd known I was going to die like this back then, I never would have run away.
Your Grace, take down everyone who dares step foot out of the castle. No exceptions.
What is this? Am I in hell?
Yes, I suppose you could call this hell.
Ruger. You were caught and killed by Carlton's soldiers on the day we fled. I'm certain you were.
Pardon? Why don't you just put a death curse on me while you're at it?
I mean, why am I so clean?
There isn't time for this. We have to make haste and leave here before it's too late.
Leave? Where?
Why, your castle, of course. Now let's make haste, Your Grace.
It can't be.
Stop them here. Don't retreat.
Havel, return to the past. And to the very night I escaped from Carlton, no less. Carlton. He was born into the lowliest class, but through his overwhelming martial prowess, he came to be known as the first prince's sword. He despised incompetent aristocrats like me who lived in the lap of luxury simply because we were lucky enough to be born into good families. And so, he earned another title as well, the Scourge of the Nobles. When Carlton's army invaded my duchy with the intent of forcing our surrender, we chose to take a stand. However, it was a fight we would have never been able to win. Good Lord, have you heard? The Viscount's son was chained to horses and then ripped apart. He had that baron who ridiculed him for being lowborn severed in half. They say any noble who draws his ire meets a gruesome end. I don't want to die. I'd rather be a cowardly lord who ran away but lived. After I fled, a furious Carlton ensured that I'd regret my choice for the rest of my days. But what if this is the final chance to prevent such a tragic future? Maybe it's possible to change everything.
Your Grace, if you remain here like this, you'll be captured by Carlton. I've already prepared your belongings. You simply need to flee.
No, I won't run away any longer. We, of House NS, must surrender.
Surrender? It seems that after spending so long in your chambers, you've forgotten.
Steward of the Duke's estate.
This war isn't a game, Your Grace.
Yes, I'm well aware of that.
And yet you still speak of surrender. Do you think this is all just in jest?
You know as well as I do that we don't have enough men within these walls to match Carlton's forces. It's only a matter of time before we're overrun and the castle is captured.
House Annes's vassals will surely send reinforcements.
Head of the duchy's finances.
No, they won't come. Had they intended to help us, they would have sent troops before Carlton drew his sword.
Yes, they surely would have helped us by now.
No, they will definitely.
After my parents' untimely passing, these retainers raised me in their place. I absolutely will not allow them to die for me this time. Carlton and the First Prince have no intention of killing us. They only seek our submission, nothing more.
Our submission? Are those words befitting the head of House NS? You are the master of these golden fields, the ruler of the South. More than that, for honor's sake, you must never back down.
I'm making this choice for everyone's sake.
You said precisely the same thing when you insisted on supporting the second prince. And where has that choice left us? You probably intend to plead for your own life. With the situation looking this dire, can't you please take some responsibility as the head of this house? Oh, never mind. What's the use at this juncture? We should handle this among ourselves, as we've always done.
Wait, I have something very important to say.
Come along, Your Grace. You must be terrified. There. We understand. Set your mind at ease. The estate's adults will handle things from here.
Well, looking back, I suppose I brought this upon myself with my past behavior.
Reason 1. Sucked the duchy's coffers dry with extravagance and pleasure-seeking. Reason 2. Left everything to his retainers and ran away. Reason 3,456,789 and many more.
Yes, even I would say the same thing in their place.
There isn't time for this, Your Grace. Carlton's forces could have captured the castle immediately, but, for some reason, they're holding back. Look here, Your Grace. I got this map from the forest keeper. With this in hand, we'll be able to avoid the forest's monsters and make it quickly through to House Duplet's lands.
Ruger, even if we reach Duplet territory, what then? Wait. So, the left side of this road is Duplet territory, while Carlton's garrison is on the right?
That's correct. This way, we shouldn't have to see hide or hair of Carlton's men.
Let's be on our way. We'll set out at once.
An excellent idea, Your Grace. Count Duplet will give you protection and the best possible hospitality. Carlton won't be able to pursue us all the way to the Count's lands.
Yes, if I can't formally sue for surrender by post, I'll just have to go there myself.
Are you certain this is the right path, Your Grace? Somehow, it feels like the forest is getting thicker and thicker. What possessed you to suddenly play guide anyway?
I'm sorry for deceiving you like this, Ruger. But I'm definitely going to save you this. Pull yourself together, Lousen. This is just a gloomy forest, nothing more. This is no longer the past where I was hounded by illusions. No. Death Knights are all nothing but delusions. The saint gave me the strength to overcome them. No.
Your Grace. Why did you suddenly stop?
Well, I haven't walked this much in a long time. I'm rather tired,
I suspected as much. You got excited and ventured ahead alone.
Yes, this isn't that horrible future. I've returned to reality once more.
This is why I wanted you to give me the map. Ack! Look here. If we continue moving this way, we'll run into Carlton's army.
Is that so?
I thought something seemed strange. What? Do you intend to find Carlton and surrender if he agrees to spare your life?
Bullseye.
Have you gone mad, Your Grace?
Wait, Ruger. You're speaking too loudly. Goblins. What do we do, Ruger?
I'll cut a path through them. When you see an opening, run behind them. Now. Your Grace.
I can't die like this. What the? That spear? Who on earth?
Who do we have here? Well, if it isn't Lousen NS.
You are.
I never expected to find an exalted noble such as yourself, skulking out of the shadows like a knave fleeing debt collectors in the night.
I have something to say to you, Carlt.
You've walked straight into your own grave.
Your Grace. Get your hands off me. Where are you taking the Duke?
Move out.
No. Wait. Ugh, I think I'm going to be sick. It's like everything I've eaten in the past decade is about to make a reappearance.
Ah, right. Put that wretch wherever you'd like.
Leave this to me, Ruger. I'll come for you soon. So, this place is Carlton's garrison. They seem too polished to be called mercenaries, but too free-spirited to be knights or soldiers.
So you went out hunting and came back with a stray simpleton. Huh?
They're definitely Carlton's men, all right.
Mind your words, everyone. There's a duke in our midst.
What?
In his state, good one, Commander.
Don't get discouraged now. In battle, getting the drop on your enemy is key. I, Duke Lousen Annis, son of Robert and Tana Annis, and Lord of the Golden Hill, hereby offer you my surrender. Ha! Surprised, aren't you?
Hee hee, so you wish to surrender? If you're so intent on saving your precious life, then you should have thrown open the castle gates before any soldiers wound up dead. This is precisely why I so despise aristocrats like you. You scum think only your own lives are precious.
Wait. This wasn't part of the plan.
When you wage a war, you must take responsibility, Duke.
Pull yourself together, Lousen. Come on, think. Just a minute. If you kill me, you'll die too. The first prince sent me here to test you. In the future I witnessed, once Prince Elian ascended the throne and the court's new power structure was established, Carlton was the first to be eliminated for the contempt he'd shown the nobility. There was no way the nobles were going to leave be a low-born knight with a nickname like the Scourge of the Nobles. He was nothing but a loose end. Although rumors swirled that he'd fled immediately before his execution and became a bandit or found religion and converted, either way, I may not have anyone on my side, but you're surrounded by enemies. Prince Elian must have wanted to confirm whether or not you were someone he could trust to follow his commands until the very end. The prince has never once punished me for killing a noble. This war will end soon. If you were king and had your pick between a noble who could offer you riches and his allegiance or a dog who had already served his purpose, which would you choose? You could have captured my castle in a single day, but you didn't. Why? Was it because you've also sensed that your position is insecure?
Lousen Annis. You're shortening your already brief life even further.
If you don't believe me, then, behead me here and now. Ugh. Because come New Year's, your head, will be hanging from the palace walls.
Damn it. Very well. Let's do that again.
Do what? Again, you say?
They've paused their onslaught. This is our chance. Once again, that's completely out of the question with only our forces within the castle.
Then you want us to just sit on our hands?
Not at all. I'm merely pointing out that we ought to proceed with more caution.
Steward. Outside.
What in heaven's name?
This is how things turned out.
I suspected it was a trap when they surrendered so abruptly, but it seems to be real. I never dreamed they'd disarm this easily. It appears his retainers really had no idea that their lord was coming to surrender to us.
So long as Prince Elian's victory is assured, there isn't any reason for us to quarrel. Our priority at the moment must be to rid ourselves of that thorn in our side.
Yes, we've no use for a cur who threatens us. One never knows when a mongrel like that will turn and bite the hand that feeds it.
Go south, Carlton. Go and subjugate the Duchy of Annis.
That's been making me uneasy, but I didn't expect him to hit the nail right on the head that way.
I've heard that the Duke of Annis is nothing but a lout and a pushover, but it appears he truly is a noble after all.
We'll find out soon enough.
The steward says he has nothing more to say to you, Your Grace. This has been a blow to everyone's pride. He likely doesn't know how to cope.
How can you be certain that Prince Elian won't wipe us all out? We were once a great house that even the Emperor couldn't treat lightly. How could we fall this low? Awaiting the instructions of a mere mercenary. I am sorely disappointed, Your Grace.
I expected no less from him.
He will come to understand your choice in time.
Thank you, Butler. No one understands my intentions. It's agonizing, but that can't be helped. I've made my decision. Still, I managed to weather the night that I've regretted most. And protected this shining, golden sea all on my own.
Have you heard? The Duke surrendered. Well, even back when he was putting up a fight, I never reckoned he could win.
Seeing Prince Elian's blue pennant waving over the Duke's castle
really brings home the fact that this war is finally coming to a close.
But what will become of House Annis and the rest of the South?
Terrible things must be afoot. Isn't Carlton the one in command? They call him the noble's scourge. Poor Duke Annis.
Your Grace, I brought some food.
He may have survived, but he must be in a terrible state.
This is positively scrumptious. I knew I was right to surrender.
Since when has he eaten with such gusto?
I finished. You can clear the table now.
How could someone who's always abandoned the luxurious meals prepared by the royal head chef after only a single bite happily be scarfing down this plain fare? Somehow, he doesn't feel like the same Duke I've served for so long.
What is it? Do you have something to say?
No, my lord. Please enjoy your meal.
I will. Ah, that hit the spot.
Your Grace, about your earlier request.
Did you find him?
No, I'm not certain who precisely you're searching for, but it's proving somewhat difficult at the moment.
I can't do anything right now because Carlton has sealed off the castle.
But who exactly do you wish to find? I don't believe there's anyone among your acquaintances of whom I'm not aware.
No, there is, my benefactor, the saint. Who is he? You've rescued me, and given me food and a place to stay. What should I call you?
Others call me the one-armed pilgrim.
That's how the saint saved me, but, Saint, I'm afraid, how should I apologize if I meet the people who've lost their lives because of me in heaven?
Brother.
Saint. I might not be able to see the saint again. I was only in the saint's company for a year. I thought that last illness was the end for me. Maybe I really do owe my return to the past to him. Thanks to him, I have a chance to change the future. and I'm determined to repay his kindness by bringing him here to my estate.
Well, we may be granted our freedom if the issue of war reparations is resolved.
True. War reparations.
I've been ordered to fetch the Duke.
Shouldn't His Grace at least be granted time to digest his meal?
No need, Ruger. I must promptly answer any summons, otherwise, there's no telling what Carlton will do.
Commander. Duke Annis is here.
Isn't it inconvenient for you to remain here?
You've stolen the words right out of my mouth.
Well, I can hardly say that anything has been lacking. You've given me your former chambers and always respond to any summons hesitation. You see, I'm desperate to hear the great Duke's counsel at all times. So please be understanding. I'm nothing but a lowly commoner of no importance, after all. But why go so out of your way like that? It's as if you're someone with a guilty conscience.
Perceptive bastard. If only things had gone differently that day.
1 week earlier, the day of surrender. Carlton's victory banquet.
To our victory. Cheers.
Bottoms up.
You can tell they're mercenaries. All right. Just look at that wild bunch of ruffians.
How did our house come to this?
We're now waiting hand and foot on invaders.
Who's to blame for this?
I agreed to attend this banquet to put on a show of cordiality.
Would you like to come to the victory banquet?
Oh, that sounds so very lovely. But it's unbearably awkward.
This castle truly lives up to its reputation. It must be quite tiring maintaining this place.
You've been talking down to me this whole time. Why are you pretending to be so friendly all of a sudden? What are you scheming?
This may seem like humble fare to you, but we put our whole hearts into preparing it.
Hooray for scheming.
Eat and drink to your heart's content.
They say that no one who gives you delicious food is bad. That definitely rings true.
Allow me to pour you a glass, Your Grace.
Yeah. I never dreamed I'd share a table with Carlton. Yes, I've really done some incredible things today. I got sick and died, then returned to the past, changed the future, and above all else, made the terrifying Carlton as docile as a lamb.
It seems he was nothing special after all.
Ha!
My Lord Duke. I'm trying to keep in mind all that I've managed to accomplish so far and restrain myself, so would you cooperate a little? I may seem easygoing to you, but if I catch the merest hint of smugness on your face, I won't be able to hold myself back. You had best be a touch more afraid of me, little Duke, if you want peace, that is. However short-lived it may prove to be.
This perceptive bastard is as hard to trick as a demon. So, what's going on this time?
I've heard that there's an armory within a northern storehouse, but I wasn't able to determine its exact location using a map. It seems you'll have to find it for me, Your Grace.
What? There are more than 5 storehouses in the north.
You'll have to be diligent then.
My back is still sore from carrying bags of food from the southern storehouses yesterday.
Oh dear. If only your retainers were in better health, Your Grace, but their whatabouts are really no business of ours.
No dukes allowed. His retainers have gone on strike by feigning illness.
He always rubs salt right in my wounds, and, what of the storehouse key?
How would I know about matters of housekeeping in someone else's castle? I've full confidence that you'll handle this admirably, Your Grace. Please devote your best efforts to this matter as well.
Why, oh why, is this blasted place so damned huge? Where the hell is that key?
Blah blah blah, the steward borrowed it. Anyhow, it's in the steward's office.
It's not as though he'd ever give me any difficult or important task anyway. If he really wanted to, he could have kicked that door open a long time ago.
Wow. You're the best.
This is all nothing but pointless busywork. Phew, chin up. I need to get Carlton out of here quickly so I can find the saint.
Is that the young Duke? Isn't he being kept confined somewhere?
Haven't you heard? He's been scurrying about at Carlton's beck and call.
The very thought of it hurts my pride. How can someone like that carry such a noble title?
Well, they didn't strike me or throw any stones, all they did was huff and puff out hot air.
Completely unscathed.
I found it. If I take the northern storehouse's ledger, then he won't have me tidy it up, right? This one's a watering tool, a new farming implement that failed. Phew, the flames of the Holy Spirit. This one is really impressive. Wait. It's already early autumn, and when harvest time comes around, those things are going to descend upon us, aren't they? It happened the same year Carlton left the duchy after reducing it to ruins. They appeared above the desolate, half-burnt fields like something out of a nightmare. Droves and droves of them, the swarms of locusts. In the grain-rich south, locusts are not merely ordinary insects. They're pestilential demons who crawled out of hell, to devour each and every precious grain within reach. That year, the south was already in a state of crisis, brought on by the carnage and conflagrations that Carlton had wrought, and safeguarding food became a grave problem directly linked to survival. But this time, I surrendered to Carlton, and the duchy has just come under occupation, so the issue isn't that pressing yet. What's more, the South also has a secret weapon. Even its name is dazzling, the flame of the Holy Spirit. It's the South's precious treasure, an object imbued with a terrifying enchantment that allows it to burn only locusts while leaving the grain unscathed. Now I just need to find an effective way to deliver this information to Carlton. The saint told me exactly what to do in moments like this. Don't waste energy. Just head directly to the cleverest person you know. Steward, it's me, Lousen. A terrifying swarm of locusts is on its way. What should we do?
A swarm of locusts, you say? What about those pestilent creatures from hell?
Treasurer, what are you doing in there? Where is the steward?
I've been caring for him. He really has fallen ill from stress and overwork. But returning to the matter at hand, the estates along the Locust route send us predictions every year, but we haven't heard anything from them yet.
There's been a civil war this year, so perhaps that's prevented them from sending us an advanced warning.
That could be so. Even the steward, who wields true authority in the duchy, hasn't heard any information about those vile creatures. So why is His Grace suddenly harping about locust swarms? Anyhow, it wouldn't be difficult for everyone to prepare. Once word is sent to each of the southern fiefdoms, they all have experience with this. But...
Oh, right, Carlton sealed off the outer perimeters of the castle, so it's impossible to contact the outside world.
Aha! Now that I think of it, we usually receive advanced word from Baron Loris. But apparently he invited Carlton to a meal, then deliberately kept him waiting for half a day. They say Carlton tore him apart limb from limb.
How dare you leave me waiting? Die.
Oh, that's right. The key. I must be off at once. Thank you, Treasurer.
Well, at least the day has finally come that His Grace has thought of something on his own. Perhaps facing crises really does change people.
Curse House NS. My goal was to return to the capital as quickly as possible, but collecting our spoils and supplies is taking far too long. Lousen NS, just how incompetent can you be, Lousen NS, to make all of your retainers go on strike in the midst of a crisis? And yet, was it because you've also sensed that your position is insecure? Hearing your insight is something worth looking forward to, isn't it?
Sir Carlton.
Or not. Now you've immediately made me regret thinking so. Why, look who it is. I've been waiting here so long that I thought you'd forgotten all about the promise you made to a lowly man like me.
Not at all. I couldn't possibly forget a promise made to you. Ahem, to tell the truth. I've thought up an excellent plan that I'd like to share with you.
Skeptical.
Try and be a little open-minded. I'm talking about a way to get the southern lords to surrender.
Couldn't I simply wipe them all out?
I'm well aware of your soldiers' bravery, but there's a way to make the lords surrender without having to fight.
And what might that be?
Well,
What do you think you're doing?
I was just explaining my idea, now. What you could do is, deliver notice that locust swarms are coming.
Locusts?
Yes, locusts.
Is this some sort of joke? You've made your contempt for me quite clear.
No, that wasn't why.
Enough of this. No matter how long it takes, I will secure the southern lord's surrender on my own. Now please, just leave. I have training to do.
Wait, perhaps you aren't very familiar with this, but...
He keeps saying the most demeaning things to me. It seems I've been complacent for too long.
Ugh, this is no light matter. Locust swarms are a thing of life and death for the fiefdoms and the lords who control them. The lords won't have the wherewithal for a power struggle with you in the midst of preparations for war with them. If they don't mount a proper response now, they'll be left completely empty-handed this winter. Countless people will starve. I don't want to see that horrible situation again.
Phew, that's all very well. But I cannot simply take your word for this, Your Grace.
Then what must I do?
Official dispatches will be sent out to each of the lords. But if even a single one fails to surrender as you say they will, then you shall join us in battle yourself.
Is this blackguard trying to drag me onto the battlefield and use me as arrow fodder? Ah, I see.
If you don't agree, then I don't see any way I...
No, wait. I'll do it.
In that case, composite hat dispatch now.
Locust swarms.
Those demonic creatures are coming. Everyone prepare. All of us must steel our hearts and hold fast. Time to teach those hellspawn a lesson.
A noble death? That's nothing in the face of having food to put in your belly this minute.
This isn't the time to shut our gates fast and hide.
Yes. Let's give trusting Duke Ines a chance. Open the castle gates.
All but 3 houses have sent envoys offering their surrender.
They've actually surrendered? Over mere locusts? They wouldn't budge in the face of any placations or threats. What the devil is this? It feels like the South is toying with me. I never expected things to play out as Duke Ines said they would.
Where are you going, Commander?
There's something I need to check.
Ah, it's been ages since I've had a taste of freedom. Thanks to those locusts, my retainers have all returned to work, leaving me free. I'm almost worried that things are going too well. Something always seems to go wrong at times like these, yes? Who is it? So, did everyone surrender to you, then? My retainers are all back now. Do you really have to speak to me?
No, not everyone. Houses Seat, Vinard, and Holgar are still resisting. What do you know of them?
Nothing at all. Ah, those 3 houses. Well.
How can he possibly know? When he's had enough insight to catch me completely off guard twice?
Carlton's POV.
I've heard that his reputation as a lout has reached even the capital. But looking at that harmless face, it seems those rumors are just talk after all.
Ha! What did I do wrong now?
Humph. I understand that the village below the castle has been exceedingly quiet recently.
Is that so? It's always been a very tranquil place. Hee, what's going on there?
Heh, I knew I was deluding myself. Honestly. Insight? From a wretch like him?
Your Grace.
Commander.
Outside the walls.
A swarm of locusts is flying toward us.
Really?
What? Then it wasn't a trick to make them surrender?
Is it actually possible to predict natural disasters?
They're coming.
This can't be. That's a locust swarm.
Stand fast.
Burn them all.
Look at them battling so fiercely to protect our home. Magnificent, isn't it?
This confounded man, he's outstripped my expectations at every turn. He's utterly unpredictable.
The Locusts are dispersing.
Lousen and Ness, I want to learn more about you.
Our Lord really is wonderful, isn't he?
He is. He managed to make a deal with Carlton to get the lords to surrender and even stop the Locust swarms.
Apparently, all his retainers have returned to their posts. Humph. It must have been a fluke. He's never done anything useful before. But it feels as though he's changed a bit recently.
That's right. He's not half as fussy as he was before. Maybe he's starting to grow up. Whatever the reason, the atmosphere around here has definitely improved thanks to him.
Pardon me. What do I do?
Goodness, Ruger.
Ruger, you rat, what sort of chief attendant stands around blithely flirting with a maid when his master's in agony?
Greetings, Your Grace. The castle is ringing with tales of your heroism. I expected you to be basking in your success. Is something amiss?
You know how all the southern houses but one have surrendered?
Yes. All of them aside from House Vineyard.
Well, Carlton is leading his men into battle against them tomorrow, and I have to join them.
What? Has he gone mad? He's taking you into battle? You aren't a capable horseman.
Yes, I know, but...
No, it isn't merely that you aren't capable. Your horse riding skills are absolutely dreadful. They're appalling.
Enough already.
Your lack of any ability to sit on a horse is a grave concern. But don't worry. I'll be there by your side to help you make it through.
Forget it. As long as I stick close to the cavalry, everything should be fine.
If you manage even that much, it'd be a miracle.
Your Grace.
Knight Commander.
I understand that you're riding off to war tomorrow.
Yes. What's that?
It's an enchanted bracelet. If you swing your arm while wearing this, it will act as a magical shield.
An enchanted bracelet, didn't my father give this to you?
I hope that you will never be called upon to use it, but one never knows. I'm only sorry that this is all I have to offer on the eve of battle.
I'm the one who is sorry. Truly.
You must be busy with your preparations for tomorrow. I won't take up any more of your time. Then I shall take my leave.
Phew, because of my unilateral decision to surrender, the sacrifices of all the honorable knights who'd laid down their lives in battle were rendered moot. Oh, that old stickler. Principled to the end. If I'd been more worthy of my position as Duke, would things have turned out differently? Keep a tight hold on those, Ruger.
Of course.
Ruger, help. Well, at least I managed to get in the saddle.
Hold tight, Your Grace.
On to our objective. Time to see how fast these horses can go. There aren't any half-wits among you who've lazed around and forgotten how to ride, are there?
Wait.
Everyone, move out.
What's a man who can't even ride a horse to do? As expected, I knew things would turn out this way. How was I ever going to keep up with them? What's the matter? Come on, let's hurry after them,
It's no use, Your Grace. It seems we have no choice but to dismount and walk.
Tell me, Ruger, has the atmosphere of the village always been like this? Why is it so quiet?
Your Grace. It appears you need to remount your horse.
It's him.
The Duke has come out of the castle.
We have a request to make of you.
Move aside.
All of our food was taken from us. They've stopped giving us rations, and we aren't even allowed to go beyond the castle walls.
Do you wish all of us to starve to death?
Starve to death? What are they talking about? What's this about food being taken and rations not being distributed?
There's no need for you to deal with these ruffians directly, Your Grace.
Stop, Ruger. These are my people.
A sword.
The Duke is trying to kill his own people.
No, I'm not. Please stop, Ruger.
Your Grace.
The bracelet the Knight Commander gave me just saved my life. Ah, I know that look in their eyes. Starving, angry people, whose pain and fear is all pouring out as violence. I have to hurry.
I have hold of him.
And get away from here.
All of you, move aside. I don't know how, but his face invites derision, yet simultaneously steals away my will to ridicule him.
This is the second time you've saved me.
Yes, I suppose so. Although it wasn't intentional.
They said the castle had taken their food and supplies, and stopped distributing rations. Supplies were requisitioned during the build-up to the war. And then, after I surrendered, the situation rapidly changed, and everyone completely forgot about those people. You knew the entire story, didn't you? That was why you brought up the village that time.
Yes, I knew. Was he really ignorant of the situation?
Even Carlton knew about what was going on, but steward. The villagers are all on the verge of starving to death. Why wasn't I informed?
Come now. Were you really unaware?
What?
Your Grace, you were the one who rashly overcommit our supplies to help support the second prince. You signed the requisition documents with your own hand.
I'm a little hazy on the details, but all it needs is my signature anyway. Now, back to my merrymaking. Lousen and S, what have you been so preoccupied with all this time? I barely managed to save my own life, and I've done nothing but celebrate ever since, completely forgetting everything else.
But it isn't as though you could intervene at the moment in any case. All the authority in this castle rests in Sir Carlton's hands now.
Brother, if you fear the dark, then do not simply cower under your covers. Kindle a light instead. If you avert your eyes and shrink away from your fears, they will grow ever larger until you are crushed beneath their weight.
Yes, the saint was right. I can't just hide away. These lush, golden fields are the kingdom's true treasure. And House NS, which rules over them, is a truly noble, honorable family. The head of House NS must live up to that ideal and protect these lands. Come what may, I will set things right.
I figured we'd be camping out somewhere by the side of the road tonight.
I never expected to be feasting here at NS Castle again, haha.
Circumstances forced us to return here, but we'll move out again on the morrow, so be sure not to get too comfortable, all of you.
Yes, sir.
Right. Commander, we only imprisoned the villagers who resisted to the very last. But it appears that the Duke's attendant is among them.
See that the villages get something to eat. One night behind bars should be long enough. Release them tomorrow. And as for that attendant, suffering is an excellent teacher.
Quite right, Commander. That upstart brought it on himself. This'll teach him to stop acting so high and mighty.
Sir Carlton. I'd like the distribution of rations to the village below the castle to be resumed.
Out of the question.
We're setting out on a campaign again tomorrow. There isn't enough food to provide rations. In that case, we'll provide the necessary food ourselves. I won't lay a finger on anything I promise to you.
I looked into this matter personally. See? You signed the requisition documents yourself.
That is correct. But the common folk are blameless.
For a commoner, simply encountering a foolish lord is a sin. Even if you spend a lifetime toiling diligently away, your lord just has to make a single misstep, and poof! Your whole life flies away.
He's right. I don't even deserve to be hurt by his words. Please, have mercy on those people. I'll do anything in my power.
Since the Duke was the one who made the mistake, it's only right that he be the one to make amends. So why does it feel as though I'm the villain here? You bend the knee so easily, Your Grace. If you really are willing to do anything as you claim, then such a cheap gesture won't be sufficient. Give up your body too. He's putting on a show of virtue in asking me to be merciful, but in the end, nothing can ever mean more to him than his pride as a nobleman. I refuse to be the only one put to shame. He'll never be able to stand this sort of humilia.
Very well.
Huh.
To think, I'll be able to feed everyone in the whole village using just my body. I've struck pay dirt.
This man, is he trying to start something with me? I suppose he thinks if he does this, I'll be startled into telling him to stop. Very well. Time to see who bests whom. Everyone, out. Now then. Let's see you prove your sincerity, shall we? Continue. Precisely how far is he prepared to go? What are you doing?
It isn't that I'm not willing, this belt is just so difficult to unbuckle.
Enough of this.
Why? Would you prefer to bathe first?
No.
You prefer not to bathe?
Ha. This is maddening. Stop there. Enough of this. That talk about you giving up your body was merely a jest from the outset.
Then, I promise to.
Since you seem to be brimming with self-confidence, you are to resolve any questions about supplies or manpower on your own.
Of course. I always keep my promises. Hooray, thanks goodness.
Commander.
The Duke passed by a moment ago. What happened, sir?
Our departure has been postponed. Assist the Duke with whatever he'd like to do.
Pardon? That's such an abrupt change. Where are you going, sir?
To the drill hall.
He's training alone on a moonlit night? Is there something weighing on his mind?
So then, did the commander and the Duke actually?
He said to let the Duke do whatever he wishes.
Wow, then the two of them.
So that means the commander's going to the training grounds because...
Our dear Duke, and that diabolical Carlton.
Good heavens, Your Grace, are you quite well? We heard you went through a terrible ordeal in the village.
Summon a physician.
No need. It was nothing but a minor commotion. We are gathered here today to find a solution to the food dilemma, so let's set the past aside and do our best to find a way to overcome this crisis.
Understood, Your Grace.
From the time of his surrender up to the arrival of the Locust swarms, I was surprised to observe a radical alteration in the Duke. But this goes beyond even that. Now he actually reminds me of his father. The Duke was only 6 years old when both his mother and father passed away while battling an epidemic that was raging throughout the fiefdom, and so, we retainers, seeing what a heavy burden had been thrust upon his young shoulders, vowed to dedicate the remainder of our lives to his protection. We utterly devoted ourselves to his care, treating him like the finest porcelain, liable to shatter at the slightest touch. And as a result, the Duke grew into an incurable lout. Yet even so, he is our Lord, someone whom we've devoted our younger years to affectionately nurturing.
So, steward, can it be done?
So when that same Lord requests my support for his efforts on behalf of the fiefdom, there is only one possible reply I can give him, of course, Your Grace.
Come to think of it, where is Ruger?
How could you not know that I've been imprisoned?
You stole the words from my mouth. No one told me. Were I Carlton or one of his soldiers, I would have wanted to bash you upside the head.
That speech and thought bubble ought to be switched. These names are the ones who attacked you, Your Grace. They are all pure evil. They can't be allowed to live. You ought to put them to death immediately.
Please have mercy, Your Grace. We were merely hungry. We don't deserve to lose our heads.
Please spare our lives.
Calm yourselves, all of you. No one is going to die. Instead, your punishment will be to assist me.
Isn't that the Duke?
And aren't those two working over their Timos and Bilta? But they were captured yesterday.
What on earth are they preparing?
Based on my long experience as a wandering outcast, giving bread and meat to someone who has suffered protracted starvation will make them ill. In cases like this, a warm, light soup is the perfect remedy. Everyone, come and have some soup. It seems they don't feel at ease around me yet. Come here, little one. For tonight, just eat this and wait. You can tell the grown-ups that rations from the castle are coming in the morning.
But aren't we all doomed because we lost the war?
Do you think a thing like that is enough to doom the Dukes of NS, whose history goes back a millennium? Once the castle gates are reopened, everything will work out. I apologize for everything you've had to endure.
Over here, everyone. Hurry over and have some soup.
Yes, the Duke has gone to this much trouble, so we...
Well, he is our lord, so we at least ought to trust him.
He may be a tad unreliable, but it isn't as though we have any option but to wait anyway.
That was so tumultuous. Now, it's time I got some rest. They have something to eat today, but what about tomorrow? And the day after? When will Carlton leave so we can open up the castle gates? Will the people be able to survive until then? If everyone lives dependent on rations, what will become of their self-reliance? I can't sleep. This won't do. At moments like this, you have to get moving.
Lousen NS, his temperament seems to shift a dozen times a day. It's as if he has multiple personalities. One moment, he seems like a typical arrogant aristocrat, the next, someone so fragile he's on the verge of shattering, then anxious, like someone teetering at the water's edge. Later still, he's an embodiment of the ideal leader for the fiefdom, to the extent that he's even willing to throw away his own body. Enough of this. Some fresh air will banish these thoughts. The Duke? Where could he be going at this time of night?
I think they're somewhere around here. Found them.
Duke NS. That's...
Wait.
Just what do you think you're doing? Why are you eating that? Spit that out at once.
What was that about?
It was me saving you once again, Your Grace. Do you have any idea what you were attempting to eat?
Yes, I do. It's a crone in the ground. It's a hardy vegetable with ferocious-looking roots and a weed-like tenacity that allows it to grow well everywhere. Eating it normally causes severe diarrhea and stomach pain, but since its toxin is only produced when it's exposed to sunlight, it can be consumed without effect if roasted directly after being dug up. Actually, it's downright delicious.
How do you know all of that?
Because I've eaten it before.
You have? Why would a duke eat such a thing?
It was a long time ago. I secretly ate them on many occasions as a child.
On many occasions?
Yes, there weren't that many, so I could never eat a lot at once. There were times when I longed to have enough to fill my belly. He clearly hasn't ever gone hungry before.
Why in the world would he have eaten something like this many times? Crones in the ground normally serve as feed for cows and pigs, but in the south, food is so bountiful that they aren't even used for that here. Why would the master of the South's Great Plains and Golden Fields eat these?
And, while it may look disgusting, if you cook it well, the flesh is very soft and sweet, so it's quite easy to digest. It's also highly nutritious, especially when added to soups. Wait, are you listening?
Did the Duke's household not feed him? Could it be that the Duke grew up being neglected and abused by his own retainers from childhood? He did seem to be accustomed to solitary struggles.
Sir Carlton.
So that's what it was. While each lord is king in all but name within the boundaries of his dominion, fierce power struggles do occasionally break out, over who will control the management of each territory. Duke NS inherited the duchy when he was quite young, and was raised by his retainers. No matter how lofty his rank may have been, he was still a 6-year-old child. It's entirely possible that his seasoned retainers seized control of the castle and proceeded to mistreat the Duke. If they abandoned him, leaving him to starve in the huge castle, the young Duke could very well have roamed about in search of food. What if he stumbled upon pigs feeding on crones in the ground during his wanderings, and mistook them for something edible? Yes, that is plausible. No, more than that. There can be no other explanation. Loyal retainers would never have allowed him to eat a known poison. So I have to conclude that Duke Anessa's upbringing was neglectful at best, and at worst, downright abusive.
Would you care to join me?
No, I would not.
Ah, very well.
Are you actually going to eat that filth-encrusted thing?
Well, that is the reason I dug it up.
Just look at his face. How on earth did they raise him for him to be so thoroughly downtrodden? If you're feeling that hungry, why don't we dig up some more? Would 1 or 2 be sufficient?
3 would be lovely.
Understood.
My, you dig so well.
I can do most anything better than you, Your Grace. I'll take these to your room.
Why would you do that? Why did you do that?
You even complain when I help you.
No, that wasn't a complaint. You just being kind to me, this is so unfamiliar.
Come now, you must have been helped before, haven't you?
Oh, have I? When have you ever helped me with anything?
What pieces of rubbish.
What is going on with him? Has he really gone mad?
You will soon grow accustomed to receiving help, Your Grace.
Well, it's no business of mine. He doesn't go a single day without doing something strange. Well, I'll just relish this leisurely stroll. I know all of you have worked tirelessly day and night searching for a solution to the current situation. Rationing may solve our current issues, but new ones will arise once food grows scarce. I have prepared an alternate food source to avoid that contingency.
That's
a crone in the ground.
Human beings cannot ingest these. Their toxins are weak but undeniably present.
That will not be a concern. I ate some only yesterday, and as you can see, I am completely unscathed.
You ate a crone in the ground.
Your Grace.
Yes, I did. All of you are familiar with the chronicles passed down from our ancestors. There is mention made here of crones in the ground being eaten in the year 222 after the wheat crop was damaged by frost. It also says that their roots only become toxic after they are exposed to sunlight. I spent all night scouring the library to find that reference. Thank you, beloved ancestors.
But, Your Grace, steward.
Not bad at all.
It tastes much better than it looks, and crones in the ground can be found everywhere, so supplies should never run low.
Yes, with both historical documentation and our Lord's first-hand experience, we can confidently place our faith in these tubers.
So, Minister,
you win.
But will the people really agree to eat these?
Leave that to me. I will gather the people in the village square and demonstrate how to eat them personally.
Wheat on the left. Crones in the ground on the right.
The 3rd cart is full. We're ready for the 4th.
The preparations are going so well. But
are things going smoothly?
What has gotten into that lunatic now? Is there anything I can do to help? Hurry and grab the other side, Ruger.
Why would we move that, Your Grace? Such things can be left to the servants.
Oh, hush. Everyone is busy. We ought to do our part as well.
But why would we needlessly put ourselves in pain?
All right. 1, 2, 3.
My lord, you'll be hurt. Please leave such difficult tasks to us.
I can handle at least this much.
Out of the question. Please remain over there.
I haven't felt this in a long time, being treated as though I'll crumble at the slightest touch. As if they even wish to breathe from me.
Allow me to take this for you, Your Grace.
This familiar feeling of being overprotected. But I had no trouble chopping firewood during my time as a wanderer. I spent most nights on the street, but even when I would get beaten, I would always recover within a few days. I'm not that 6-year-old boy any longer. Just how long are they going to keep coddling me?
His eyes are so red, he seems to be on the brink of tears.
Ugh, I stayed up all night looking through those books. My eyes.
It appears those retainers of his are so determined to keep their grip on power, that they are preventing him from properly taking up his mantle as Duke. They treat him like a fool incapable of doing anything for himself.
Is someone talking about me? That is how things stand at the moment. Sir Carlton? How long are you going to keep following me?
Following you? What an idea. I'm simply escorting a ration cart. I suggest that you look to your own work, Your Grace.
Putting on a smile doesn't do anything to curb that foul tongue of yours. You seem a little, he always looks at me like he's liable to kill me at any moment. But when he isn't making murderous faces, Carlton is actually quite handsome.
What is it, Your Grace?
Nothing. Nothing at all. Don't make eye contact, don't make eye contact.
Why on earth is that brute taking such a keen interest in you, Your Grace? Ugh, it makes my skin crawl.
Who can say? I'd like to know that even more than you.
But you seem even more peculiar than him at the moment, Your Grace. The old you would never have gotten along this well with the likes of Carlton. Why does it feel as though you've changed in the past few months?
Why? Why on earth do you dislike Carlton so much anyway, Ruger?
Do you really not know? He isn't even a true knight, merely an upstart riffraff from the dregs of society who's forgotten his place and run amok.
Ha, that's right. Ruger is from an aristocratic family too, isn't he? Come to think of it, which house is he from?
We've arrived, Your Grace.
Very well, one moment.
Take my hand.
Thank you. This really isn't necessary.
I will have preparations for the tasting made at once.
Look at that. Sir Carlton can't tear his eyes off of our lord.
Yes, that look in his eyes certainly isn't something you see every day.
The reality.
Why don't you give me some space now?
But what if you were to be attacked again, Your Grace?
Are you saying that the rumors are true? What rumors?
You haven't heard? They say Carlton used the distribution of rations as an excuse to demand the Duke's body. Carlton has fallen for the Duke and is pursuing him relentlessly.
What did you say?
A servant overheard Carlton's men having a whispered conversation to that effect. Steward.
How could this have happened? My precious little lord, our delicate, adorable Duke.
Steward.
That swine. How dare he treat our lord so?
These are better than I expected. Actually, they're downright delicious.
Really? I'll give one a taste then.
Even so, I'm still a bit...
You're still skeptical, even after seeing the Duke eat them with your own eyes?
No, it isn't like that.
It appears some people are still feeling dubious.
Well, I was expecting as much. Still, there are also people who have already been won over. As for the rest, word of mouth and time will convince them in the end.
Lousen, if not for your retainer's scheming, you would have made a much better lord. I'll teach you a thing or two about horseback riding on the way back.
You know about that? About my inability to ride a horse.
Oh dear.
How could I not after witnessing something like that? I couldn't even pretend not to know.
So embarrassing. In that case, I look forward to seeing firsthand how good a horsemanship instructor you are.
You won't be disappointed.
Steward.
The last of the ration carts returned a long time ago. When on earth is the Duke going to?
Whoa! Don't let go of the reins.
Are you going to bring servants with you out to the battlefield?
I just need to find a horse that suits me. Not one like this who throws me at every opportunity.
Our lord cut such a majestic figure on horseback.
Now, A craftsman does not blame his tools.
And alas, that knave has noticed. Look at him. He can't tear his eyes away.
Ha! What brings all of you out beyond the gates?
Excellent work today, Your Grace.
I'm here as well, you know.
I came because I have some matters regarding the fiefdom to discuss with you, Your Grace.
Just look at them. Since when have they discussed anything of that sort with him? Are they feeling a sense of crisis spurred on by the Duke's growing renown? Well, if he wants a fight, I can't refuse. Take my hand. I'll help you down.
No, Your Grace. Allow me to assist you.
No need to strain yourself, steward. You have a bad back.
Your Grace.
Could you let me down?
Your Grace, where did you leave behind the servants in order to arrive here alone with Carlton?
Well, Ruger is always so busy.
Commander. An envoy of surrender has arrived from House Vineyard.
What? House Vineyard?
They've sent an envoy now?
Yes, but he refused to tell us anything unless we brought the Duke.
Me?
I am Bolton, the eldest son and heir of Viscount Vineyard. I came all the way here in person, and this is the treatment I receive? You clearly know nothing of nobles.
You can't kill him.
I won't.
Don't beat him either.
Well, I'll try not to.
Your Grace. It is such an honor to have you come to such a humble place for our sake.
Why did you insist on meeting with me?
About that, we set out immediately after receiving your official dispatch and arrived here after a 3-day journey. But these clods are telling me that the official dispatch was sent quite some time ago, and the locust swarms have long since dispersed.
What?
Don't you mean that you knew war was around the corner and rushed to send an envoy to sue for peace?
The Viscounts of Vineyard are a prestigious southern family with a long and storied history. We would never do something that cowardly.
Wait, Lord Bolton. How long ago did you say you left Vineyard's lands?
3 days ago.
But, Lord Bolton, it has already been well over 10 days since we sent out that dispatch.
Pardon? Do you mean to say that we spent an entire week wandering about in the woods? Surely not. We did encounter fog, but I am quite certain we stayed focused and kept to the road.
Now. Do calm down, my lord.
Do you think he's telling the truth?
It must be a lie, although I must say, his acting is superb. But surely if he were lying, he would offer a more plausible reason than some nonsense about fog.
That may be, but so far, it's difficult to lend his story any credence. Then, could it be that someone deliberately obstructed them? Ah, right. It could have been a wizard.
If magic were involved, it would have left traces, but our patrols haven't sent back reports of any abnormalities.
If not through magic, then how else could a distance that should have taken 3 days to cross stretch to a week?
It's time we return to the castle.
Ha! What about the surrender negotiations?
We'll allow him a day or so to come to his senses. It won't be too late to open negotiations tomorrow. You needn't concern yourself with this.
Why do they seem so natural doing that?
I was wondering the same thing. It seems the rumors about Commander Carlton's feelings for the Duke are true.
Then, once negotiations with House Vineyard are complete, your mission will be as well, right?
Yes, we will have officially received the surrender of every southern lord. That will only further enhance the first prince's position. Are you returning to the capital?
I must.
You hesitated before answering. How unlike you. Why, are you feeling sorry to go?
Not in the slightest.
Ah, I knew you would say that.
It was the same earlier too. Touch comes so naturally for him. Have you always been this unwary?
Ha! I've been told I'm oblivious to social cues many times before, but I believe this is the first I've been called unwary. Why? Do I seem that way to you?
Well, I can't refute that.
What the? He knows how to smile like that. He usually seems so angry when he looks at me. The shock is making my heart pound.
This bread was made using crone in the ground? It's so chewy, and the more you chew, the sweeter it gets.
It is a bit of a pity that there's no butter, but it tastes good all the same.
By the way, what brings you here, Your Grace?
I came here to ask about something, but when I saw the bread, I couldn't restrain myself. So, tell me, has anything peculiar happened inside the fiefdom recently?
Anything peculiar?
Something like a strange fog, or people disappearing, or perhaps dates getting mixed up.
Ever since that reservoir was put in this past spring, we get fog all the time. And what with the monsters, disappearances are hardly rare. As for dates getting mixed up, isn't that a sign you've already got one foot in the grave?
It seems Lord Bolton was lying after all.
Despite their absurd excuses, our negotiations with House Vinard have concluded favorably. So, when will we return to the capital?
Well, I intend to take stock of the situation before coming to any decisions.
Would you like to try some?
No, I would.
I reject your rejection.
When did the two of you become so close?
Close? Ha.
So, Commander, are you really fond of the Duke? It's just rumors are swirling around the castle. They say you've taken a fancy to the Duke and always follow him about.
Humph. Why does his retainer's prickliness suddenly seem to make sense?
Also, you were originally the one who wished to set out today, but now you want to wait for the situation to develop. Could it be that you are concerned about the Duke?
Ha, what rubbish. People actually think that. I'm fond of the Duke. In the time I've spent with him, he's shown himself to be different from any other noble I've ever known, and I've taken a bit more interest in his welfare due to his unfortunate upbringing. Still, though. Me, and that Lousen NS? If you were willing to believe that balderdash, then your life must be far too comfortable lately.
Thank goodness it isn't so. We received word from Ennis, the one you planted close to the first prince's side, but you seem to be focused on other matters, so...
Go on.
It seems the situation has grown rather disquieting lately.
Commander, attempts to smear your reputation continue. I recommend that you quickly return to the prince.
Ha, those blasted fiends.
And he also warned that you tread with caution, as nobles from the south have been behaving suspiciously.
The southern nobles, shall I send them a warning?
Pardon?
It's nothing, nothing. Enough of that. According to the Duke, I only narrowly managed to pass the first prince's test. I'm barely able to see to my own affairs. Divide the men into an advance party and rear guard. The advance party departs with me first. Be ready to move out in 2 days.
Pardon? Yes, sir.
It seems my mind has grown lax under the influence of the South's uniquely relaxed atmosphere.
Sir Carlton.
And when you become lax, unnecessary emotions start to burrow their way in. Yes, surely it can't be true.
Speed up your preparations. We're returning to the capital.
You're that pleased?
Of course I am, Your Grace. We're going to be rid of that thorn in our sides at last.
Hooray! Sir Carlton is leaving at last.
Goodness! What a melancholy time this has been.
Honestly, I felt like we had become a bit closer. To think that I had to hear about his departure from the steward,
Now you can go back to enjoying yourself, just like before. No need to crowd your mind with unnecessary concerns. Just leave everything to your retainers. And throw a grand party.
All of my friends died in the war.
Then you can simply make some new ones.
At least you're in good spirits. What a comfortable life you must lead.
Don't forget, you have me, Your Grace. Now everything will go back to the way it was.
Right. Once Carlton leaves, full responsibility over this new future will rest on my shoulders. But why is it that I feel so sad? This won't do.
Where are you going? To declare war.
I have a question for you, Your Grace.
One moment. Sir Carlton, I'd like to speak to you for a moment.
Your Grace.
Please assist me with this.
What?
Shall I put this, Your Grace?
Which flavor do you prefer, apple or strawberry? Your Grace.
Your Grace.
Your Grace.
Stop calling for me. I don't know why they kept me from meeting with Carlton, but if everyone is going to be this way, I have an idea. Sir Carlton. This was originally my bedroom, but seeing Sir Carlton lying here unclothed makes it seem strange somehow. Carl. Ah. Sir Carlton, it's me.
The Duke would never come here at this hour. Is this a dream? It's more real than anything I could have imagined.
What? What do you think you're doing, Sir Carlton?
Ah, it really is you, Your Grace. I was half asleep.
Do you make a habit of groping people while half asleep?
Ahem. At any rate, what brings you here, Your Grace? What has you crawling into another man's bed in the dead of night, while wearing such delicate and insubstantial clothing?
Crawling like this was the only way to get past Ruger unnoticed. And speak more precisely, you were the one who grabbed me and yanked me onto the bed. Why is he staring at me like that?
Of course it wasn't like that.
Ha! What on earth are you? That startled me.
So, what do you wish to discuss?
Why are you in such a rush?
Simply because I am.
The investigation into what happened to the envoys from Vineyard hasn't been completed yet, and there must be so much that needs to be packed. Leaving in such a hurry is bound to cause problems.
None of that is your concern, Your Grace.
We've spent a great deal of time together while you've been here, but you were planning to leave without saying goodbye.
Once I leave, that hyena of a steward and his cronies won't give him any peace. Ha! How can he be so naive? I'd hate to get caught up in a conflict with the southern nobles, but perhaps I should ask him to come to the capital with me.
Well, I can understand your impatience to return to the First Prince's side. Left alone, the nobles are sure to conspire to send you off to another battlefield. I would do the same in your position.
Where did you hear about that?
Oops. Oh, it was just a guess. Based on what I've seen of your situation. As I recall, Carlton was banished to the frontier at around this time, under the pretext of having him battle monsters.
Your cleverness never ceases to amaze me, Your Grace. To think I was concerned about you. How laughable. He is a duke, the Lord Paramount of the South, while I am nothing but a low-born knight. All this time, I've failed to grasp the fact that we are from completely different worlds. In case you've forgotten, I am the one who came to occupy this duchy.
Yes, you are. It feels as though the mood suddenly reverted back to the way it was when we first met.
I trust you have taken my meaning, so if you have nothing more to tell me, you ought to get back. So this is the end. I may never see the Duke again. And now, the time has come to return to reality. Other than those in the rear guard escorting the wagons, everyone else is to travel at a full gallop with me. If anyone has any objections, speak them.
Wait.
Your Grace.
I mean to say, I like you.
Pardon, you like? What in blazes are you?
This isn't very much, but...
Does this mean the Duke truly likes me in that sense?
Your return to the capital will not change my heart. So, if you don't mind, would you please deliver this letter to Marquis Natran?
It was just an errand, it isn't meant for me. I entertained wild expectations again. Expectations? Did I want the Duke to profess feelings for me? What an absurd thought. Marquis Natran? You mean the former Field Marshal?
Yes, the very one. You should be able to meet him if you mention my name. He's something of an eccentric and enjoys oddities, so he'll likely find your burst of temper amusing. He may be of some assistance to you.
He's using this letter as a pretext to build a bridge between me and the Marquis. Even at the risk of his own good name, why are you helping me like this?
I already said, didn't I? I like you.
What the? Why the hell is my heart racing? Thank you, Your Grace.
There Carlton goes, so this is the end of our ill-fated relationship. Someone who chose the wrong future, just like I did. If Carlton's future changes, perhaps mine will as well. I pray that his future will be blessed.
Several days later.
That pennant, those are the first prince's arms.
My lord, a messenger from the royal family has arrived.
What's afoot?
Why this sudden message?
I have been invited to visit the capital.
You are being summoned now?
Yes, ostensibly to discuss the repatriation of prisoners of war. The king is in critical condition.
The prince must be preparing for what will come next.
Are the other great lords also traveling to the capital?
Not yet. Apparently, I am the first one to be called.
Isn't this rather suspicious?
Yes, but this is hardly the sort of summons one can refuse.
Still, there's nothing wrong with being cautious.
It is strange, and not only this.
I kept encountering bands of monsters in the forest, and I lost my way for some time because of a peculiar, thick fog.
The messenger from the capital experienced the same thing as the envoys from Vineyard. What on earth is going on out there?
With so few knights currently remaining in the duchy, I am concerned about who will provide your escort for the journey.
Ah, no need to worry. The messenger said he would ride ahead and stop Sir Carlton. I can meet him partwa.
Carlton. Just you and that scoundrel, all the way to the capital. Out of the question.
Why on earth would you ever wish to see that villain again?
I shall accompany you myself.
Come now, no need to be so concerned. Sir Carlton treats me well.
That is precisely the problem.
Ha, it isn't as though this is my first trip to the capital.
Please watch out for Carlton.
Why is everyone being so melodramatic? And if all of this is on account of Carlton, I have no idea why my traveling with him has everyone so agitated. Isn't that so? Ruger. What's gotten into him? After he made such a fuss about coming along to the capital, I expected him to be happy, but he hardly said a word during our preparations for the journey. His mind seems to be somewhere else entirely. Perhaps he will return to himself once we arrive at the capital. But, why am I so drowsy?
If you feel sleepy, please rest. Let me take that cup.
No. If I sleep now, I'll be up all night.
Come now, sleep. If you just sleep, we'll be there in no time.
Ugh! My head, when did I drift off? What on earth is all that commo?
Mind the rear.
Circle up and defend the carriage. The fog is so thick I can barely see.
Dire wolves? But why would those beasts ambush us? They're normally strategic hunters, so why would they attack a caravan as large as ours? And if it was prey they were after, they wouldn't be going after the most heavily guarded carriage. It's as if their aim is to catch me.
Your Grace? Oh no, the carriage.
What in the blazes is going on? Dire wolves are clever for monsters, but what possible reason could they have for bothering to drag me here alive? It's as if someone is controlling them. Ruger?
I expected you to cry and make a fuss, but you're quite composed. You don't even seem terribly surprised.
I'm too taken aback to cry. Are you the one controlling the dire wolves? Who instigated this? What do you hope to gain by kidnapping me?
Something has seemed odd for some time now. Complacency and thoughtlessness have always been your best attributes, Your Grace. But at some point, you suddenly started saying such astute things. Look at this. You wouldn't have had to suffer such injuries if you'd fled with me that night.
What? Come to think of it.
We have to leave your castle.
Did I ever order him to prepare to escape?
Your Grace, if you remain here like this, you'll be captured by Carlton.
Who was it who first said that I needed to flee from Carlton? And who told me all those terrifying rumors?
He despises nobles so deeply that he kills them in cold blood. They call him the scourge of the nobles.
Then, when he died for me in my past life, was that nothing but an act too? Why? Does the person who backs you wish for my downfall rather than my death?
I betrayed you, and that is the only point you're curious about? Ever since that lowborn cur came, you speak of nothing but him, even though I was the one by your side. But enough of this chit-chat. I dislike drugging you twice in one day like this, but...
No wonder I felt strangely sleepy. He spiked my tea.
If you just sleep a little longer, we really will arrive this time.
Wait. If I fall asleep like this, then...
My lord.
Stop. You must be Duke Anessa's attendant. A servant who abducts his master, and even uses monsters. Why is the Duke surrounded by nothing but pesky flies like you?
This has nothing to do with you. Don't interfere.
Nothing. I am the sole witness to this abduction.
You little.
Perhaps it'd be worthwhile to face him head-on were it just me, but fighting him while protecting the Duke would be too difficult. Which means...
You think I'll allow you to escape? Bring me the Duke! Catch them at once.
I thought we would be able to shake him off. I never imagined he could control those beasts well enough to ride one. The terrain of the forest undoubtedly favors the dire wolves. At this rate, we'll be overtaken. Is this the only way to elude them?
How dare you, filthy peasant! Carlton! Mark my words, I will track you down and kill you.
Wretched beggar.
Are you driving the common people to their death so you alone can survive?
Your Grace, noble Duke, please save me.
Your Grace, I'm hungry, and my throat is so dry.
Cold. What biting cold? Saint. So warm. Warm.
Ah, you're awake. You're certainly energetic in the morning. How are you feeling?
Where are we? I clearly remember that knave Ruger making me pass out.
After that, I grabbed hold of you and fled. By way of a waterfall.
That explains how we ended up together like this. Thank you for saving me. Though the method sounds downright mad. But weren't you at the forefront when your men set off for the capital?
A royal messenger met us on the road. I was making my way back to escort you when I witnessed the dire wolf attack.
And, what of the others?
That I do not know.
I see, both inside the carriage and as I was being dragged away by the dire wolves, I could hear the sound of shrieks. Aside from the knights, the rest of the caravan was made up of ordinary servants. All of it was because of me.
For the moment, don't think about anything at all. None of what occurred was your fault.
He's right. Now is not the time to indulge in sentimentality. I must take constructive action. I never expected to receive such consolation from you. Thank you, Sir Carlton.
My pleasure. I will escort you back to your castle.
No, I intend to continue on to the capital. So, starting now, I would like to move onward with your knights.
Wouldn't it be better for you to return to the castle and regroup before setting out again?
The castle doesn't have the manpower to provide me with an escort to the capital at the moment. Besides, Ruger is sure to be laying in wait for me somewhere along the path back. I should be able to handle him well enough. I must still travel to the capital either way, but the issues I will face next are not easy either. I have obligations I must fulfill as the Lord Paramount of the South, so I must reach His Majesty's side before it is too late.
The king's condition has grown that grave?
He does not have much time left. Preparations for the first prince's ascension to the throne must begin, and, as I am one of the Lords Paramount invested with the power to nominate the next sovereign, my presence is required in the capital.
Then we have no choice. It's some distance from here to the place where my knights are waiting. We're in for a difficult journey. We'll have to travel through the woods to avoid pursuit, and sleep under the stars with no servants to attend to us. Are you certain you will be all right?
Yes, I'm accustomed to such things. And besides, I'm with you. Your knights would never abandon you, so once we make it out of this forest, we're guaranteed to have an easy journey to the capital.
Ahem, then I will scout ahead and see which way we ought to go. As he proved earlier, he really does excel at confusing people.
Ouch, my ankle was injured when the dire wolf dragged me. It's fine. I can endure this. I won't be a burden any longer. Wait for me.
You're liable to get hurt running like that.
I'm exhausted. We walked the entire day without taking a single break. I was so certain that I changed my past, but in the end, here I am again, living as a wanderer. People's destinies are not easily altered. Come on, think. Ruger suggested that we travel to House Duplet's lands. In my past life, I fled with him in the night and traveled to their lands. We managed to make it there, but we stood outside their gates for a long time, before eventually being driven away. Ah! Wait, Sir Carlton.
You managed to walk all the way here with your ankle like this?
It wasn't a bother. Well, at least it wasn't before you pressed on it like that.
You can eat this while I provide some temporary treatment. This caught my eye in the bushes over there.
Can I really eat something this precious?
That is why I brought it to you.
Food really does help people regain their strength.
He must have been in a great deal of pain. Should I call him foolish or laudable?
As we were walking, my thoughts were all bleak, but now I feel as though I could do anything.
Could you remain still? I cannot concentrate.
Ruger, you blackguard. Stab me in the back, will you? And after I paid you generous wages too. Just wait until the next time I see you.
Yes, yes. That's the spirit. The Duke was betrayed by his closest servant. The castle is bound to be in an uproar. But that has nothing to do with me.
Would you like to join me? We can take revenge on him together.
Naturally.
No one can know what the future will bring. In my past life, I hid in these mountains as I was fleeing Carlton's pursuit, but now we are fleeing together and have even vowed to seek joint revenge. Perhaps my relationship with him is taking an unforeseen turn as well. It's already been 3 days. For some reason, I open my eyes each morning to find myself in Sir Carlton's arms. Do I embrace him in my sleep? Is it because of the chill mountain air?
We may be able to rest more comfortably today.
Do you see something? Ha! A village. This is.
It appears there was a monster attack. From the looks of these claw marks, they were dire wolves.
Dire wolves? Was it Ruger, then?
Well, judging by the state of these dried bloodstains, it appears to have taken place around 10 days ago.
10 days ago, that would have been a week before I was attacked. Ruger was still with me in my castle. In that case, perhaps there are others in league with him. That is a possibility. I've noticed something.
There are so many bloodstains but not a single body to be found. And there aren't any signs of bodies being moved either. How odd. It appears they were either carried away in the beasts' mouths, or devoured. I suggest we take what we need for the next part of our journey and be on our way. Perhaps we will be safer in the forest.
Up until a moment ago, I felt so tired I feared I might faint, but scenes of what I witnessed in the village keep flickering before my eyes, driving sleep away. Could this tragedy have been prevented if I remembered the events of my past life more clearly?
You cannot know everything that takes place in the world, Your Grace. And even if you did, it'd be impossible to prepare for every contingency.
Are you able to read minds?
It's hardly difficult, given your personality. What's done is done. Yourself won't change anything. Get some sleep. As far as those villagers are concerned, the Lord Paramount of the South who made it to the capital would be far more useful than this wandering adventurer who sleeps under the stars.
Couldn't you at least attempt to phrase it more pleasantly?
I did, didn't I?
He may offer a rough form of consolation, but it still puts me at ease. I didn't know being in the company of someone else could feel so peaceful.
If you insist on fretting, do it during the day. It's not as though you have anything else to do.
Yes, as you said before, I won't think about anything at all. When I reach the capital, I'll seek out survivors of that village and give them land and help them re-establish themselves.
That village isn't even in your duchy.
Still, as the Lord Paramount of the South, I can at least manage that much.
Yes, yes. How like you. Your Grace? Lousen? Goodness, if he was that sleepy, he should have gone to bed much sooner. I should despise the way his actions do nothing but confuse me, so why is it that I find myself feeling happy around him? Just what is it that I wish to do with this man? We seem to slowly be making our way out of the forest, so we should arrive sometime tomorrow evening.
But where precisely are we going?
The city of Compos.
Oh, there. Thank you.
I wasn't aware that you knew of Compos. Its status as a transportation hub has naturally made it quite prosperous, but since its city gates are kept open day and night, and no attempts are made to check entry permits, it's quite chaotic. Nobles prefer not to go there because it's a disorderly place where all sorts of people gather.
Well, I've been in this vicinity before, during my time as a wanderer. One moment. Just as I thought. I knew I'd find this around here.
Tender leaf. Shaped like a child's palm.
This herb lowers fevers and relieves pain. It's sure to prove useful.
Tender leaf. This is only used by those too poor to see a doctor. Goodness, Your Grace, you certainly know a number of things most nobles never learn about.
The saint sometimes gave it to me to eat when it was difficult to call a physician.
The saint?
Yes, he was a pilgrim missing his left arm. I called him Saint. Thanks to him, I was able to learn more about the world and begin living as a human being.
What did he say to teach you so much? You'd think he was recalling an old flame.
He said if someone slapped me on one cheek, I should turn and offer them the other. That would confuse the miscreant, right? Then I could subdue him with a single powerful blow to his vitals.
I doubt that was what he meant.
I'm not very skilled with words, so I can only express it like this, but he was a true saint, a wise and compassionate man who helped numerous people in need. In a way, he was everything to me back then. I asked Ruger to find him, but it seems there's no way to learn his whereabouts now.
No matter what he says, I doubt he deserves to be held in such high esteem.
He said so many wise things, such as,
He's that fond of this saint person?
Compos.
Didn't you say? They don't check identification here.
Yes, there were no inspections the last time I was here.
Do you have your identification papers?
No, do you? Should we wait until nightfall and scale the wall?
Is this my moment to shine? Just follow me. City walls like this typically include a dog hole.
Did that pilgrim tell you about these two?
No, it was someone else. The saint had a pilgrim's pass, so he had no need to resort to such methods.
How impressive of him, and now we're stooping to a level he never would,
Voila! There we are. Let's go inside. So, what do we do now?
Well, first, there's something we need to find.
What exactly? Ha! Sir Carlton. Don't run off on your own without any explanation.
My beloved Ennis?
How can you touch someone else's love letter?
It's a coded message masquerading as a love letter. Ennis is the name of my aide-de-camp ladylove. I thought they would leave it here since they had to pass through on the way to the capital.
My troops don't use a method like that. It seems all of you are quite systematic.
Do you think it easy to both lead a free company and act as the prince's closest aide?
Sounds like boasting too. Ha! Wait.
Carlton, the Duke of Ennis's kidnapper.
Carlton, a kidnapper? What was written in the message left by your men?
We're doomed.
How on earth did this happen?
Apparently, those men are Carlton's subordinates.
What are you?
You mean the ones who were chased down and captured by Enessa's soldiers last night? But isn't that noble scourge the first prince's closest aide? Why would he kidnap a high lord?
Maybe he's gone stark raving mad. Or maybe soaring to such heights after being born a serf made him forget his roots, and he started craving even greater endeavors.
Why you?
What was that? I suppose I'm hearing things.
I'm sorry. Because of me, your men are suffering, and you've been falsely accused. When I heard them saying such absurd things, I couldn't hold myself back.
It's fine. Ruger was likely the one who framed me. We are the only two people who know he's a traitor, so it would have been child's play for him to rush back to the castle and pin the blame for your ambush and disappearance on me.
Yes, all while playing the part of the devoted servant.
Given how the situation is developing, it seems you were right to set out directly for the capital rather than return to your castle. What on earth is that Ruger scheming? If you make it safely to the capital, then all the false charges against both myself and my men will naturally be cleared.
But making it safely to the capital while avoiding pursuit will pose a problem, especially now that you've been branded a wanted fugitive.
We'll have to adopt disguises.
Disguises? What are you doing? We're in the middle of the street.
You've undressed me yourself before. Why are you being shy now? You were prepared to do far more than this.
Back then, I only attempted to take off your trousers. I didn't succeed. What is this?
A pilgrim's pass.
Is it real? Why do you have this?
I found it on a pilgrim's corpse. I kept it because I thought it might prove useful if I ever met with some misfortune. Someone who appears to be a pilgrim won't arouse suspicion, even if they conceal their face.
That may be so, but to keep such a valuable thing in your trousers.
It was the safest place. Come here.
And what about you?
I simply need to pretend to be a mercenary. Pilgrims from wealthy families often hire mercenaries to accompany them. Can you feign being a pilgrim?
With ease. After all, no one followed around and observed the saint more closely than I did.
Again with talk of that charlatan saint, how annoying.
Come again.
Nothing. Then we will just need to find a way to cover our immediate travel expenses.
I can handle that. Could you lend me a knife?
What do you want with a knife?
Just hand it here.
What is on earth is he going to do with?
This should cover the cost.
What are you doing? You aren't hurt, are you?
Wait a moment, Sir Carlton. I have a knife in my hand. There is a lively back-alley trade in hair, for use in wig making, with long, blonde hair commanding an especially high price. Such dealings are quite commonplace in Compos. I should have warned you in advance. I apologize if I startled you.
When I suggested that you trim your hair during our time sleeping in the open because it was a hindrance, you vehemently refused. Did you already anticipate this situation back then?
Not precisely, no. It just seemed a waste. The amount of hair lost in a trim is worth the price of a loaf of bread.
One of my men said he first became a mercenary after his wife cut and sold her hair. Now I understand how he felt. You will never have to resort to this again. There are any number of ways to earn money that don't involve selling one's hair.
Oh, yes. I would welcome other options. Was that very surprising for him? He seems to be in a foul mood. Now this is happiness. Life is so changeable. I was ambushed by monsters, betrayed by Ruger, and now I'm even posing as a pilgrim. Come to think of it, how did I manage to make it to the north alone in my first life? It does seem odd now that I consider it. I even looked like a beggar. Why didn't anyone ever try to restrain me? No matter. Still, I would have suffered far more if Carlton were not with me. How did he manage to get that much money? The first time I sold my hair, I was paid less than half what he was. It's so lovely to have someone who has been through so much and survived by my side. Oh, I forgot to bring along clean clothes. I don't think I'll put those back on. Carlton? Did he go somewhere? What luck! I'll take this chance to quickly dress.
Have you finished bathing,
Oh, Sir Carlton. Did you bathe as well? Where?
The room next door is empty, so I...
How did you change your hair color?
I poured beer over it.
Excellent work. Even a slight change in shade makes one look like a different person.
Yes, it does.
Sir Carlton. He's seemed a tad strange for some time now.
Come over here. I'll trim your hair for you.
It doesn't need much trimming, does it?
Not much to trim. You cut it all off in a single slice. You'll need to even it out.
Well, when you put it that way, perhaps I could use a bit of refining. Thank you.
Look at him, leaving himself completely defenseless. What would he do if I had evil intentions? I'll begin, then. How is it possible for a person's entire body to be so pale and rosy?
That tickles.
If he reacts that strongly to simply being touched there, then just imagine what he would do if I touched his waist.
Carlton, I'm so sensitive there, no more. Ouch! Why did you suddenly yank my hair like that? Sir Carlton.
Bloody hell.
Why did you suddenly,
If you move, you may get hurt.
What was that look on his face just now? Does that mean, the tenderness I've been sensing in his touch wasn't just my imagination after all? It couldn't be. This is Carlton. Based on my years of experience living a life of dissipation, that look typically means one of two things: either he has indecent desires, or he's fond of me.
Be careful. I told you not to move, didn't I?
No, of course he couldn't be. I forgot for a moment that I was considering Carlton, not an ordinary person.
Damn it. I've never felt this way before, not even when I was out on the battlefield, stripped of all but my instincts. I can't believe I'm lusting after a duke. Lousen.
It actually worked. I never thought they would issue a new mercenary plaque so easily.
I told you they would.
Still, I at least expected to be asked a few questions.
You're a mercenary escorting this pilgrim. You should have said so earlier.
They likely wanted to avoid having their piety called into question. Simply appearing to be dissatisfied with the church can land you in hot water.
Well, that is true. Since the kingdom only professes faith in a single God, the status of religion is quite high, and the kingdom at large reflects the church's views on all matters of consequence.
And if you catch the attention of the High Inquisitor, your life is bound to become different. Your pilgrim act seems so natural.
Of course. I keep picturing the saint in my mind. Even his smallest gestures betrayed such holiness.
But it appears the saint failed to pass one thing along to you. Pilgrims always speak very deferentially.
It felt as though something wasn't quite right. Thank you for informing me, Sir Mercenary. Can you do something about that habit of moving before you speak, huh? Sir Carl. Sir Mercenary, please wait for me.
The inspection area in front of Compos city gates.
So we're heading to a city called Metal?
Yes, we can board a boat right here. We should be able to reach the vicinity of the capital slightly faster by traveling via the river. Then we would moving overland. It will take 4 or 5 days to walk from here to Metal.
That's quite a distance. Isn't there a public carriage or the like?
Those aren't being operated at the moment. The recent increase in monster activity has led to blockages at many points along the roadways. Communication with several villages has also been interrupted.
Less attention has been paid to monster extermination due to the war, but still, I believe this change in the monsters may have been precipitated by Ruger and his band. I want to reach the capital quickly and set things to rights.
So you will, so you will.
Will our Lord be all right?
Everyone who was with him perished, aside from his attendant, so there is no way to hear news of him.
But apparently the group of Carlton's men who kidnapped him are in custody.
I hope we soon receive word that His Grace is safe and sound.
Steward, you wily old fox. I understand Carlton's men are being transported here. I would like to be the first to meet them when they arrive.
That's quite all right. We have sufficient manpower, so please leave the investigation in our hands. You must have suffered quite a shock yourself. Please focus on your own recovery.
He's keeping me away from them because he's suspicious of me. Damn you, Lousen, I was certain you'd return to the duchy. My perfect plan, if not for that wretch, I would have definitely.
Are you all right? I saw you leaving the steward's office earlier. This has to do with the Duke, doesn't it?
She's a humble maid who does chores in the steward's office. Knowing that I've spent a long time cultivating a relationship with her. It seems the steward doesn't trust me because I'm an outsider.
Oh, how terrible. I don't believe there is anyone more worried about the Duke than you. Actually, I heard something while carrying out my duties. Apparently, Carlton's men were captured in Compos.
Really? In Compos, you say?